I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them. Well, I can't fix that, but I can dehance!
I'll take a potato chip and dehance it! Dehance! 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 Enhance!
Sometimes my genius is non-existent.
Spectacular!
So what actually is Dehancer? It's a film emulation software which just plugs into your existing photo or video editing application. In this video, I'll cover the different components which Dehancer offers, as well as provide some sample footage for each one. Just take note that I am reviewing it as an avid human who makes vlogs. I'm not overly technical, I just like vlogging and capturing these fine moments. So yeah. Oh, just one more disclaimer before we start. The Dehancer team, they actually sent me a license so I could try out their software in exchange for an honest review, so that is what I'll give ya. So jumping straight into it, we've got the bread and the butter of Dehancer, which is film profiles. Now Dehancer actually offers more than 60 plus film profiles, and you can see that right now here. And these are some clips which I've applied Dehancer onto that I absolutely love. By the way, if you're enjoying these clips, they're from my latest Japan vlog series, which I've just started recently. Taking a step back, my favorite is the Ashram Color -125. I just love how it looks. However, just take note, although it's my favorite, I will scroll through the different film profiles and see what looks best for each scene. Which brings us to my very first pain point with all of this. There is no support to press down on your keyboard. Instead, if you want to cycle through this drop down, you have to mouse over and actually scroll down on the wheel. And yes, it is a small complaint, but I would say it's part of the usability and the experience. It's kind of annoying not being able to just arrow down on that keyboard. However, I don't actually think this is Dehancer's fault. If you actually look at the Text Plus node in DaVinci Resolve, you also can't cycle through fonts. It's been a long time complaint that I've had. And on the topic of minor inconveniences, I wished every time you added Dehancer to a clip in the timeline, you could set like a default setting. And to conclude this film profiles bit, there's also different settings and configurations which are, I would say, much more technical than my depth. But from my lens, I would just click on one of them, drag them left to right, and essentially you see what it looks like, and yeah, just play around with it really. It's quite user-friendly for someone who knows nothing about this film world. Dehancer actually have a quick guide online, and it's filled with super easy to understand information. And as I mentioned, the film profiles is definitely the bread and butter of what Dehancer actually offers, but there are some complementary items which really seal the deal. The first one being grain. When applying film grain using Dehancer, everything just works. It's so easy. I just tick enable and I very rarely actually change the settings. Prior to Dehancer, I would add some fast noise node into the video and change the composite layer, all of that, and it never looked great, but it never looked bad either, and it was also a lot of guesswork from my end. And Dehancer really simplified that process. Just tick enable for the grain and just play around with the few settings on there. However, just be mindful, depending on your timeline playback resolution, the grain may not be accurate at all. If your playback resolution is on quarter, it is very different from half, and half is very different from full. Take a look at these side by side. So just one thing to note, if your computer is not up to par or doesn't run hyper smoothly, you may have some accuracy issues in what's being displayed. Now, in addition to film grain, you also have film breath? It doesn't sound right. And also film damage. And honestly, I think it works just as well, if not better than the film grain. Everything's so easy. My life prior to this would go to YouTube, find a film emulation or whatever, and then add it into DaVinci and put a composite layer, and it never turned out looking, I don't know, it always looked very artificial. But with Dehancer, I think it's really oh god. I think with Dehancer, it does a very good at like a genuine reproduction of what film should look like, inclusive of damage and film breath. And so we've covered the film profiles, the film grain, the film breadth, and the film damage. But what about the highlights around me, eh? That's where bloom comes in. Now I think one key thing about that film look is that the lights look magical. They have this very nice soft diffusion into whatever's surrounding them. However, it should be worth noting you can also achieve this look on the camera using a black mist filter. Take a look at this comparison. This is straight from the camera and with bloom. This is the black mist protector. This is the black mist number 5 filter. And sometimes you might not have a black mist filter, like for this lens here. It's a nice little pancake lens and I'm not buying a black mist filter for it, so let's check out how it goes. And let's add bloom. Pay attention to the highlights in the back. And a film profile. Although the bloom may be subtle, add a film profile and whoo! Now I've actually performed a lot of different tests with the black mist filter and whatnot, even with the Oreo lens. And I think it's far too much to present in this video, so stay subscribed for my next video or whenever that comes out. In the near future, of course. And very similar to bloom, you have halation. Essentially, halation is a film emulsion effect which focuses on the red halo around highlights. Check out this before and after. This is straight from the camera and with halation and a film profile. I personally find that it looks great on food clips. I know it's not actually made for food clips, but because of that reddish tinge or reddish glow that it applies, it just adds that warmth to food and makes it look chef's kiss. However, just like bloom, I think it's its own very topic, which I'll cover in another video. Dehancer as a tool is something I can wholeheartedly recommend to anyone. I guess only if you're looking for the film look, that is. Don't buy it if you're not. But essentially the plugin itself is so user friendly for something that's usually quite complex with all your color scientists, all of that technical stuff is just translated into such a great user friendly experience for someone like me. And it's an absolute time saver. However, I do have one call out, and that's around the pricing, because it is quite expensive and you can get it at different pricing tiers for periods. I personally love that they offer a lifetime license, and that's because I hate these subscription models where you have to pay from month to month to month to month indefinitely. Just buy it once and own it forever. Of course, the lifetime license is a lot more expensive, but you can use coupon code HANDSOME for 10% off at Dehancer's website. Just note that I do earn commission on any sale when you use coupon code HANDSOME. And I am proud to say that of the software I've bought, DaVinci Resolve Studio, Phantom LUTs, I'm glad to introduce Dehancer to this suite, my beautiful software family. If you guys do have any other questions, leave them down below in the comments. If they're technical, Dehancer team, can you answer them? Thank you. That wasn't part of our agreement, but